Hey friends, it's Mika from Yes Please Planning. Now today I'm going to be sharing with you something purely functional, and I know that you're used to me showing you the creative stuff, but every planner girl needs a little bit of function every now and then, and I'm going to be using my 2018 Mini Day Designer in order to help me get things done. I used a standard size Day Designer for a couple of years, and it was just too big and it was hard to carry around. And once I got this in the mail, I realized that it's actually gonna be a little bit hard to carry around too. Like, it's an 1.5 inches thick, and it's about 7 by 8 inches, so it's a pretty big planner, but it's something that I can carry it with me every now and then, and that's pretty much all I will need for a daily planner like this. So let's get started with the review. So when this planner gets shipped to you or to your giftee, I think this would be an excellent belated Christmas gift. It will get shipped in a lovely mint box here. And the box itself is super sturdy, super cute, so you could totally keep it for storage, use it again to reship something else. And then within that shipping box, you have this keepsake box here where the planner is housed. So I think it's a great idea to just put your main planner, your essentials in here. So for example, so this is the information that came with the Day Designer. You might have a weekly notepad, some sticky notes, your favorite pens, we love our pens, rulers, highlighters, things like that help you get your planning on. There are several different cover design options, from whimsical to ultra professional and clean, so you can pick which one works, which aesthetic is your ideal. So we've got a very sturdy cover, corners well protected, and a wire O binding system. Now this is not a complete spiral, so let me see if I can show you what I mean. It's a bit it's kind of open right here, unlike say an Erin Condren, where it's the full spiral that we're used to. With a wire O, it can be a little tricky and maybe a little bit annoying to work with it sometimes, but once you are kind of have your rhythm, it's really not an issue at all. I really love the wire O binding in comparison to a spiral. It's just there's something that's a little bit more, sophisticated, grown-up-y to me about the wire O as opposed to the spiral. The spiral is, even though this is really pretty, it just kind of reminds me sometimes of grade school. The inside front cover has a pocket, a coated pocket that you can fit. So you can fit a half-letter size paper, so you can fold up a regular sheet of paper, stick it in there. One thing that at first was a little annoying to me, but I actually consider it a feature, is that the paper will stick out from the top. Now it's not a pretty sight, but for a visual person, this is good because that paper will stick out and kind of flag to you like, hey, you need to take care of me. So I actually like that it sticks out. So that's half-letter size. You can also fit an A5 size sheet, like for example, this one from the Day Designer website. You can fit the A5 paper in there. And the pages themselves are actually approximately A5. So now let's go ahead and get into the pages. So the first and last page are going to be completely blank, and I think that is to protect the actual content. So you can use these blank pages as you can just tear them out. You don't really need them. You can use them as notes pages. You can use them for like quick info that you access on a regular basis. You can use it as a dashboard like this, where you're adding a few sticky notes and page flags on there. So that's just a few suggestions for what you can do with these pages. So you can just, again, tear them out. The next page is basically a title page, where it's got the branding information for a day designer. There's a space here for you to write your name, your contact information in case the planner gets lost. And then there's a box, which I really like, for your inspiration word for the year. That's something that I have been doing for the last several years, and so I wouldn't even mind if this little box were a little bit bigger. But what I will probably do is, draw around it or something to kind of emphasize it. But honestly, I probably won't look at this page a whole lot after the beginning of the year. And the next couple of pages are, instead of actually getting into the daily planning pages, they are goal setting pages. It starts off telling you about Whitney English, who is the creator of the Day Designer. It starts off giving you background for how and why the planner was created, and some suggestions for how to use the planner. I went ahead and highlighted some things that stood out to me, but I think the thing that I want to point out to you the most is the idea of this planner, and I think the idea of most planners is to help you create a better life. In Whitney English's words, this planner isn't magic, and it can't live for you. It's to help you figure out a focus for intentional living and move towards a more meaningful life. So basically what that's saying is, we always say, oh, this planner doesn't work for me. Well, we get the sentiment that, it's just not, it doesn't help you, but really it's up to you to use the planner in a functional, structured, or fairly structured way so that it does work for you. But it's also important that you really think about whether or not this kind of planner is what you need. We say if it works for you, well, do you need a daily planner? For me, I absolutely need a daily planner. I need to write out a daily list of things. Even if I don't use it every single day, that tends to be the most effective thing for me. It allows me flexibility. It allows me to pretty much brain dump. I don't need for the most part, I don't need an overview. I figured that out. I tried to do a weekly overview. That doesn't really work for me and my brain or my schedule. I don't have I work from home. I work for myself, so I don't have by choice, a strict schedule. So a daily planner is great for me. But if you are someone who has a lot of appointments, if you have kids' schedules that you need to juggle, you might need something that is more of a week, that gives you a better weekly overview. Let's see what else. So the way that this planner is structured is it starts off guiding you through your yearly goals and really your monthly and daily actions and habits to help you reach those yearly goals. So what you have is a couple of a few goal setting pages to help you go from this, help guide you really. There are plenty of major workbooks that you can purchase to help you goal set, but what I love about this is it takes the most essential elements of those things and it condenses it into a few pages. Here you've got your reality check. This is how do you spend your time and how do you want to spend your time. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be, realistic. Honestly, I spend, 4 hours on Instagram a day, or, I play video games X amount of time, and do you want to spend your time that way? Is it more important for you to spend time with your family? Is it more important for you to spend time working on your career goals? So it helps you figure out where you're already at and then where you want to go. The next page is talks about your core, and I really like this page. So basically, you take what your values are, the things that you value in life, what your passions are that excite you, and your strengths, and you essentially combine those things to help you figure out what your goals and what your strategy is going to be. Of great importance is values, and I give a note to myself, I've already done this, to look up a list of values. So passions and strengths, that's pretty self-explanatory. Values can be a little abstract. So if you look on the Day Designer website, and I'll actually link it down below, or the blog, it gives you a link to a really great resource, and I printed it out. It basically has a list of, this is from Scott Jeffrey, I guess the Scott Jeffrey website, I will link it, has a list of different values. So for example, acceptance, exploration, rigor, confidence, like tons of different, there's 6 pages here of values that you can choose from, and probably really hard to narrow it down, but you would just take a little bit and decide what is most important to you, and then list your top 5. The next couple of pages are the main goal setting pages. Now to me, I really like these pages, and I've actually been doing my yearly goal setting in this format for almost 20 years, where it's basically a spreadsheet of what I want in different areas of my life. So you've got myself, my people, my heart, my resources, my career, and at 3 months, 6, 9, and 1 year, what those goals would be. So for myself, that would be, for example, your mental health, physical health, fitness, just the things for personal growth that you want. For people, that would be your friends and family, your bonding, any types of relationships. For my heart, I would say that is an alternate way, or just an alternative to faith or spirituality. It's it can be gratitude, it can be any or all of those things combined. For resources, I look at that mostly as finances, your bills, credit score, your investing. I'm not sure if it means something else, but to me, that's what I think of. And then for career, that can be your new business or growth in your current business. That can be getting a raise at your job or promotion at your job. And it's just where you'd like to be 3 months, 6 months, and so on throughout the year. Now, the best way to reach your goals is to have a plan. Like we all know that saying is, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? So you need some kind of guide to help you through the year to reach those goals. This page is what that is. You can define what those goals are, and then say what you're going to do on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis to reach those goals. And then what's really important is this section here that says progress looks like, because it's not just about reaching the goal, it's also celebrating the progress along the way, because we may not actually reach that goal for the year, but if you make progress toward it, that's totally worth celebrating, right? The next 2 pages are basically a tool that will help you visualize what you want for your months and your weeks and then your days. So essentially, it's just a blank slate for you to say, okay, I would like to start off my month by, reviewing my goals and end my month by assessing how I did in terms of actions to reach my goals. I want to go on a date night twice within the month, and you would basically just map out some of the things that you want to do within your month. And the same thing goes for how you want your days to go within the week, how you want to start your days, how you want to end your nights. Now, the only problem that I have with this is that the schedule ends at 7 p.m. and most of us, I don't know about you, but my day doesn't end until 9 or 10 o'clock, probably 12 or 1 o'clock to be honest. And so I would love to have it a little bit longer so that I could put in my nightly routine. That's not a huge thing, and I understand, just from a space perspective why that's really not feasible for this layout, but that would be my only qualm about this page. Otherwise, I think it's a great practice to visualize how you want your day to go. The next page is a year at a glance. I'll have to say that I was a little disappointed when I saw this layout because I was expecting it to be different. This is how it looks in the larger Day Designer. Let's see. So in the larger flagship, it's got really awesome year at a glance, and it has a little space in there for you to write little notes within the days. And obviously there just isn't enough space for that, but I really love that, and I might try to figure out how to incorporate something like that into this planner. Now let's go ahead and talk about what you're going to see on a regular basis. So you're going to get this notes page at the beginning of some months, not all of them, some. So January starts with this notes page. Essentially what you have is 3 columns, and you can choose what you want for your category headers. For example, if you marked out which days in the year are important, you could explain what those days are. For example, birthdays or anniversaries, things like that. You could use this page just to maybe list out some goals, like goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and some steps that you want to take. You could use this page just to kind of journal out some things. There are spaces in between each column, but they're very narrow spaces, so you could essentially just go straight across and write in sort of a journal fashion. So I think this is a good idea to have at the beginning of each month. The problem is this layout is not actually at the beginning of each month. It's only on certain pages. So for example, it's at the beginning of January, and then you have the monthly layout, but at, let's say, the end of February, you don't have that. It's just you've got February 28th, and then the very next page there's March. So you don't have, if you wanted to use those 3 columns for goal setting, you wouldn't have that option. Now if you do decide that you would like to use the notes pages as kind of a goal setting or monthly overview type of thing at the beginning of each month, you can go to the Day Designer website and download for free a very similar format. It's not exactly the same, but it has the 3 boxes and the 3 columns there. So you could print it. It comes at 8.5 by 11, so it's larger than this. I resized it at 70%. And that's going to give me more or less the like A5 size, and I can cut around it and just basically tape it onto my page, like stick it here or something. So at least that option is there for you. And again, it's on the daydesigner.com website. I will be leaving my referral link down below And you don't actually have to buy the planner in order to take advantage of all of the printables that are on the Day Designer website. Now, as far as the monthly view goes, each month has a cardstock page to use as the divider and a gold tab. This tab is laminated for durability. And the layout, I love this layout. It is nice, clean, and super functional. Basically, if you are like me and you find that a daily planner is the best layout for you in terms of just going through your week, it's still usually a good idea to have something that helps you get an overall view of your time. So what I tend to do is write my my appointments, my anniversaries, birthdays, things like that on my monthly view, and then brain dump every day what I need to get done. So this is a nice clean slate for that. And then there's this blank space here for you to do what you want. So you could put a quote, you can just leave it blank. For me, I really like putting my goal for the month here, or goals for the month here. I kind of feel like that's an area where the Day Designer falls short. It's now, let me say that the great people at Day Designer sent me this this planner for my honest review. So that means I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about the planner, even though like I do love it and that's why I chose to use it, or that's why I chose to reach out to them. I feel like it falls short a little bit with the goal aspect of the planner. Like it's a strong start with all of the goal setting pages. It's concise, but it's thorough. Where I feel like it falls short is that it just doesn't say anything else about goals throughout the rest of the planner. Now, part of the reason why, as I was reading some of the introductory information, it says here, at Day Designer, we're big believers in set it and forget it. And so I guess that's what they mean by doing all of this, goal mapping in the beginning and just kind of let it sort of guide you. But I feel like the monthly and the daily pages, they don't say anything about goals. Now, they do, obviously, if you have done all the setup work in terms of what you want your day to look like, what you want your month to look like, and so on, you're going to have daily things in there that link up with that. But I would love for this planner to say, goals. Like, why not just put goals here or goals here? I know that not everyone would use it in the same way, but if the intention is really to help guide you toward a better, more well-designed life, then that goals, that's an essential part of it. I say that because, now don't get me wrong, I'm a very creative person. My mind is very noodly and flexible, and I'm not a super, rigid kind of person. But I have discovered about myself that the times that I map out my goals and have them front and center and focus on them on at least a monthly basis, I just do better throughout the year. I mean, it makes sense, right? So, yeah, I just wish that was in there. That being said, what I've done in the past is take out this big mama. Let me find a page that has, so last year, just FYI, or not last year, but when I did, this was a 2015 planner, I think, I did a lot of deco throughout the year in this planner. I don't intend to do that much deco, but we'll see. I say that, but I know how I am, and deco is what I do. So anyway, for the month, I like to set I like to set my goals, think about what I want ahead of time, and something like this where you write out your goals and put 2 or 3 things that you want to focus on. That's a good thing to do at the beginning of the month here in that space. Another thing that's very important to point out in the monthly overview is that this is a Monday start. So I really like having my Saturday and Sunday together in my monthly overview, but it's my brain isn't accustomed to having it that way. Only some planners have it that way. So I'm going to have to flag, this is Monday, so that I don't forget and start doing Sunday stuff right here. Even though the date's there, that's just something that would be likely to happen. One of the things, what they did, I think, here to help you with that is there are very faint diagonal lines going through all of these boxes. And that will kind of, so it's shaded there to kind of help you remember, hey, these are the weekend days. It's a unit. So there, I don't know if you can see that. Hope you can. But again, it's very faint, but it should be a visual reminder that this is Saturday and Sunday together. Now let's talk about the actual meat of the planner, the daily layout. Daily layout is important to me. I said it before. I love to brain dump my to-dos, and this is the best way for me to do that on a daily basis. So basically what I do is brain dump my to-dos, then I take this top 3 section and I figure out, of all of my to-dos, what are the main things that I need to get done, the things that will make me feel like I have been successful today, because I know I'm not going to get everything done, but at least I can get those top 3 things done. And then here sometimes I'll write when I'm going to do those to-dos throughout the day, but very often I just put the 1 or 2 appointments that I may have, very often do not have, throughout the day. Again, this is 7 to 7 p.m. and so it's a pretty, short day, but as far as a nightly routine, that's not something that I necessarily will need to write down every day anyway. Maybe if you want to remember to watch a certain, primetime show that comes on at 8 o'clock, that might be something, that you'll miss here, but you just write it down there. It's not that big of a deal. What else? I love that there is a quote on every page, and I've noticed that some days are just but sometimes a quote will really speak to me, and I'll just kind of keep that in mind throughout the day. And then, so it's got the day, the date. This is a part that I'm not in love with. This top right section has this, cute alliteration: do, dinner, dollars, don't forget, it's the D's and it's day designer, and I get that, but I don't think that this is the best use of space. And I've heard a lot of people say that they don't really know how to use this, or they don't use it very much. They cover it up quite a bit or just leave it blank. And on the one hand, I guess I could say, maybe that's good, because then when you do finally use it, it will stand out to you. If everything's blank and then on Monday, February 12th, there's something written in here, it's going to stand out when those spaces are normally blank. However, I kind of would like to use more of the page, on a day-to-day basis. I think this would be an excellent place to put your goals. So if you have let's say you got 2 goals that you're focusing on for the month or for the week, then you could have this say goal 1, and that could be, a space, going across this way, or the big space here, and goal 2 and another space here. I just don't feel like I'm going to necessarily have something due, or dollars that I spent, or saved. I don't budget my money that way. I don't track my money in this way. Dinner, it just seems forced, because what about breakfast and lunch? Don't forget. I don't know. I feel like if it's that important, I'm going to put it over here in my top 3, and so it doesn't need to be here. if my mortgage is due, I'm going to put it here as my top 3. I'm not going to put it over here where it's a smaller space and it might be kind of an afterthought. So I don't know. I will probably, I don't know, I'm considering making some stickers to cover up these, but I don't know, that's a lot for every day. I might just cross it out and write whatever I want in there. Let's see, one feature, really great feature that I love and I feel like every planner should have in it is a space for gratitude. So daily gratitude, I love that it's just this small section. It's not this huge thing. So you can just kind of remember, put a little note here. It could be one word, it can be a little sentence. It doesn't have to be something major, you know, like I saw some beautiful butterflies today. Friendly neighbors, clear skies, snow. I called my mom. Just, you know, it could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, a word, just something that can stick here that you can, so you can always remember that every day there is definitely something to be grateful for. So other than that, let's see, the font, the font color, the line color, it's a medium tone gray. It's not so light that you can't see it, but it's not this stark black that stands out. So that way your writing can take center stage and not, you know, the lines that are already on the page. So I love the color of the things that are printed here. The lines going across are dotted lines. So that's another thing that, you know, won't stand out while you're trying to get your writing done, but it still has a guideline there for you. So that's what Monday through Friday looks like. Every weekday has its own page. Now when you get to Saturday and Sunday, the weekend days are on the same page. Now that serves a couple of functions. For one, it keeps the quantity of pages down so that the book is not too thick. And then it also helps you kind of keep in mind that your weekends, maybe, I know not everyone has that option, but many of us want to aim to have your weekends be more of things that you're doing, time that you're spending with people who you care about, as opposed to just this to-do list to check off. So you do have this to do, so you can still do your top 3 here, but then the rest of it is just like a schedule. And then at the bottom, you've got of the weekend pages, you have a weekly overview. So next week you can, you know, jot down some things that you want to accomplish. You can jot down your appointments that week, or, you know, soccer games. Or this can be like a goal setting page. So I want to save this much money each day, or I want to, in order to become closer to my children, I want to do this on Monday, this on Tuesday, something like that. Now, as far as the paper quality goes, of course it's going to be a thin paper because you're trying to get basically 180 or so pages to fit in one planner and not be, you know, the size of a Bible. So the pages are pretty thin, but I would say they're pretty decent quality because there really isn't a whole lot of bleeding. Like there's definitely ghosting that goes on, but the only pens that bleed are the ones that are more like markers, like Sharpies, and the Sharpie Ultrafine, for example, that's an actual marker and not a pen. But when I use the Sharpie pen, let me grab some of these so you can see what I'm talking about. So the Sharpie pen that specifically says Sharpie pen, you won't have a problem with it bleeding through unless you're like a super heavy-handed, super slow, you know, kind of writer. But the Sharpie Ultrafine is a marker, and so it does definitely bleed through. And then the rest of these are mostly gel and ballpoints, and there really isn't a problem with it bleeding. Even the Tombow dual tip, I thought this would for sure bleed through, but so I wrote with it here. with the brush and the hard tip, and it didn't bleed through. It ghosted, but it didn't bleed through. So you can use pretty much any pen that's not a super juicy marker on these. Now, as far as that ghosting goes, that's really up to you how much you feel like you can handle. But most gel pens are going to be just fine, or most ballpoint pens are going to be just fine. If you are planning on purchasing this for yourself or for a giftee, the price is $49 at the moment. $49 for a mini, $59 for the larger size. Now, just as an aside, these are the flagship planners that are on the Day Designer website. If you are looking at a Day Designer for Blue Sky, that price point is much lower, but it's also a completely different planner. Different quality, different aesthetic, different layout, just a whole different thing. So for this format, this look, it's not cheap. Let's be real, it's not cheap. But if you are looking for something that will help spoil you but motivate you, that you will be in love with, definitely go with a Day Designer. So again, it's $49. Shipping is $12.50. It ships with USPS priority shipping. If you purchase $100 or more, the shipping, I believe, is free. That extra money could go to from getting from 49 to 100. You can buy a cover for this, and the cover is sort of like a 6-ring binder that you can slide the cover into. So that's something that you can purchase. There are tons of accessories that you can buy. So definitely just browse the website and see what goodies you can find. And I didn't know this before, but if you have purchased your Day Designer, there's actually a promotion that if you post a photo on Instagram once a month, they want your order for free. They refund the price of one customer's order every month as an Instagram promotion. So that is something that, hey, maybe you'll get lucky. You can do it, throughout the year, and you basically have 12 tries to get your planner for free and get that money back. Another thing, Day Designer related, not necessarily specifically about the planner, is their printable library. So I talked about how there's this 3-column notes page that you can download for free, but there are tons of other printables that they have. So most of them are 8.5 by 11, and if you want it to fit inside a mini or in your A5 binder, try printing at 70% and just kind of go up or down from there and see what your print settings require. Now, some of them are so like this one is an A5 printable. So on the 8.5 by 11 page, it prints actually at the A5 size, and there'll be some crop marks there. So I already cut this out. This one, the layout is a little bit different. I think it may be the ring bound layout. So basically it does kind of have those 4Ds, but they are in picture icon form here. So those are up there. And then what else is different? It's got the top 3. The notes is different here. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack down below. Hydration. So it's a little bit different than the layout, but at least kind of gives you this basic, top 3 to-do schedule kind of thing. Anyway, if you just want to try out this layout, it's there on the website for you to use for free. I would suggest downloading either this one at A5 or the one that's just like the flagship design, and they have it in mini that you can print. So this is a mini size. It prints on 8.5 by 11. It did not have crop marks on there, but that's not a big deal. And you can try out this exact layout to see if it will work for you. I would say print 1 to 2 weeks and use it daily to see what does and does not fit for your brain and the way that you operate. Then, let's see, you have, so these are just some of the things that I pulled from their printable library. I mentioned that I wish there was more talk of goals throughout the planner and not just in the beginning. So the word, goal, I don't know, is just an important thing for me to see on a regular basis. So this is something that you can print out. You can 8.5 by 11 or reduce the size. Packing checklist, I absolutely love for someone who travels a lot, goes on, road trips with your friends or whatever. This is a great tool to have in your planning arsenal. This 50 best practices, so again, 8.5 by 11 or print it smaller. I love this. It's just something you can, for one, you can use some of these tips for as actual concrete goals, or they can just sort of be whispers in the back of your mind, like put your phone on the charger in the other room when you go to bed. Exercise, hello. Call a therapist, yep. Say you're sorry, but don't apologize for yourself when you're not wrong. Just different things to help you live a well-designed life. There's a food and exercise log here, grocery shopping list, date night bucket list. That would be great for your sweetheart or even just, your family, the things that you want to do, with your family. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is these squares here. I found, this is Stampin' Up! EK Success, this on Etsy a few years ago. It has these squares that you can basically punch to fit in the wire O. You can use a regular circle hole punch, but this is nice and handy. I will try to find it online, but I bought it used, so it may not exist anywhere. That is about it. Thank you for sticking with me on this very chatty review. I hope that it helped you decide if you want the Day Designer, maybe gave you some tips on how to use the Day Designer. If you are looking for a more in-depth explanation of how I'm going to be using this planner, or if you would like to see me do some decorative spreads in this planner, please leave a comment down below to let me know that that is something you're interested in. And that's it, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Please come over and say hi on Instagram at Yes Please Planning. Bye bye.